welcome to Internet Marketing Ninjas. Today I've got a topic that I'd like to cover which has been in the news a lot the past few weeks, and that topic is the Position 6 filter. What seems to have happened was a few days before Christmas 2007, a lot of sites which had been number one or number two, were definitely within the top 5, their ranking suddenly went to number 6. And it seems to have happened to, a lot of people more than enough to where you can call this a coincidence. Now, I realize that, at first there's a lot of people that they're gonna laugh at that and say, position 6 filter, that can't be. People are just upset that they lost a couple of rankings, but I do believe that it's something which has been done, and I have a handful of sites that I'd like to review with everyone here and show kind of what are my thoughts on what happened and what are some ideas on how to untrip that filter to try and get the rankings back. So if you run a search in Google for position 6 Google or position 6 penalty or position 6 filter, you're gonna run across a lot of posts and bloggers talking about their experience with it. But part of the problem with a lot of the analysis that's out there is these people have one site which got affected, and so they're looking at what is the SEO that we've done, what are the backlinks that we got for this, and is there any flags in there where we over optimized in our link text. They look at their on-page optimization, and they look at the semantics, and but they only have one site to analyze, and then they start drawing guesses off of their one website. Kind of what I have is I went through 7 websites where 6 of them may have had this position 6 filter, and one of them is kind of a test site. I really do believe that something has happened. What I have is I have this white paper for you, and a link will be provided for it. Okay, so what I did is we looked at 7 sites where 6 of those may have had the position 6 filter applied, and we also were looking at 1 site which did not. So on your paper here, we'll look at site number 1, which targets 7 major phrases. These are these sites that we're looking at here. A lot of them are, they're targeting major phrases. These aren't long tail phrases. These aren't non-competitive phrases. These are real phrases that are competitive. So site number 1, we had 7 main phrases that we were targeting with them. On December the 16th, they were number 1 for all 7 phrases. On December 22nd, they were number 6 for 5 of those 7 phrases, and 2 of those phrases they remained at number 1. So I kind of ran some comparisons between those 2 sites. Here's 2 sites going after the same exact phrases. 1 site was affected, 1 site was not. So again, I ran some comparisons on what is it that we did different for the 1 site than for the other site to try and figure out what are some of the things that again could cause this filter to happen to 1 site but not to the other. One of them did stay at number 3, so it almost seems like it is phrase based, especially with that first site on here where the 3-word phrases for both those stayed at number 1, and the other phrases did move down. So it does appear that this position 6 filter is phrase based. And one of my clients, who I know is number 1 for their biggest phrase, he sent me an email and said, "Hey, here's a list of my, of how many of my rankings that I have at number 1, and how many I have at number 2, and how many at number 3," because he actually does go after a big long tail of phrases for something which is state based. Yet his biggest phrase, state thing, he's number 1 for. The interesting thing about this is, he has 51 phrases which he ranks number 1 for. 17 that rank number 2, 2 that rank number 3, 4 that rank number 4, 1 that ranks number 5, then 63 that rank number 6. followed by 29 for number 7, 12 for 8, 6 for 9. So that number 6, he's also one who's convinced that, he may have hit some position 6 filter as well, because, the majority of his phrases landed at number 6. Okay, so now that we've gone through some of those websites where the position 6 filter may have been applied, I started to do the analysis, and I spent a long time trying to figure out what is it that could cause this filter. And yes, always my first thoughts are, it must have something to do with the backlinks. That's what we're doing, But we're tracking well over 100 sites, and kind of doing the same thing for most of those sites, and it seemed odd that some sites would get hit when others wouldn't. I looked at I guess my biggest thing that I looked at first was the backlinks. And so what I did is, I ran these sites through the common backlink tool, which is one of the tools which is available for you if you're an internet marketing ninja. And I basically I plugged in the 5 sites that I was pretty sure had been hit with the position 6 filter, and then I put in 5 sites that weren't, that we worked with, and I tried to see if there was common backlinks between those 5, and I ran that report four different times using different mixes to see if I could find a pattern in the backlinks. We also ran these sites through the forward link analysis tool, which is another tool which is available to you as an internet marketing ninja, because I thought, well, if I can't find a pattern in backlinks or anything that these particular sites are doing that these are not, then I said, well, maybe it has to do with who they link to. Maybe these sites are linking out to sites which maybe are penalized as well. We looked at the on-page optimization. We said, well, there was another thing we looked at also. We looked at the backlink text. We said, maybe we've over-optimized the backlink text. If someone's targeting blue widgets, maybe we have too high of a percentage, or an unnaturally high percentage of people linking to the site with blue widgets. There's a lot of people that say, oh, I think I know the answer, it's because of this, and then someone else chimes in with, no, I've got a site that affected, and it ain't that. I go back into Webmaster World and see that, gee, they've now got a part 2 thread on the position 6 filter, and I start going through and reading what are the latest comments and theories in there, and there was one that I pulled out which is kind of interesting. You have it on my white paper here. You'll get more clicks by having a listing which is more clickable. So you've got nothing to lose by trying this and everything to gain. Thank you very much.